Don't forget to like, follow, subscribe, and turn on notifications so that you will receive alerts when there are new episodes. Go get it.
Yeah. Listen, success is whatever you make it. If you want to be happy, you want to provide for your family.
Live.
You gotta put that work in, man. You gotta go get
Learn.
it. See, listen, this is what I tell them.
Serve.
I've been grinding for so long, I wake up and chase my goals.
Inspire.
I go out and I go get it. How to go,
You're in the
that's
right
all I know. I
place.
don't
You're
succeed
checking
if I
out
don't breathe.
Chip
Success,
Baker,
what does it
the
mean?
Success
If I
Chronicles.
conquer all my goals, then I'm living out my dream. Dig deep, go out and get it. Success Chronicles. Compete until it's finished. Success Chronicles.
Hey, what's up, everybody? This is Chip Baker coming to you with another episode of the Success Chronicles. And today we're here with Miss Lisa Fabrega, a great lady, been blessed and fortunate to achieve some really neat things in her life and her career. And I'm so thankful to have her on this episode of the Success Chronicles. So first off, thanks for taking the time to interview with the Success Chronicles.
Oh, it's my pleasure. Thank you so much for inviting me.
All righty. Very welcome. So let's dive into it. I know off air we talked a little bit about your life story, but if you don't mind sharing your story with the audience and tracking your story till now.
Yeah. Well, I was born in Panama, the country of Panama, and I was not so fortunate to be growing up in the country when we ended up getting a dictator. And I was there throughout all of that unrest and the rioting, and it was really a crazy time, all the way up until the United States invaded and took the dictator out of Panama. And so I learned a lot from a very early age about um, the how leaders can be so easily corrupted, and how leaders can create so much damage if they haven't sort of gotten themselves right internally. And that's what
Yeah.
I really saw in the dictator of the country that I lived in. He just did so many horrible things to people and manipulated so many people. And I always used to ponder, what would lead a person to do that? And so that kind of stayed, it's one of those childhood things that you don't realize influences you until you get older and start looking back.
Mm-hmm.
And so I then went on to go to college and then graduate school. And then I was in New York City working as an actor, actually, for several years. And I was pretty successful as an actor. But, as actors will always tell you, you don't always make a consistent income. And so you always have another job to supplement when you're not acting and getting paid for acting. And so I remember I had all these jobs in these different financial firms because I was in New York City. And the problem is I just kept getting promoted at these jobs. And so the more you get promoted, the more they get
Less you can
annoyed when
add.
you leave to go on an audition in the middle of the day. So that started happening, and I started thinking, I need some more flexibility in my day, because I can tell this is going to turn into a bad situation in a while, because they're not going to want me leaving for my auditions. And so it just so happened that at that time I ran into another friend of mine who I'd gone to acting school with, and she was telling me that she had just been cast on Broadway and that she was also making money as a coach. And I thought, what's that? I'd never really thought about what that might be. And she said, oh, I get to help people and coach them and to achieve their goals. And I'm making enough money from it that I don't have to have a day job anymore. And I'm supplementing, and I have the flexible schedule. And I thought, maybe I should look into
That
that.
sounds good.
Exactly. So I started looking into it, and I thought, well, if my friend can do it, why couldn't I do it? And I took a big scary leap. And I remember at that time I was making not that much, for New York City, I was not making that much money, because it's expensive living in New York.
Right.
And so I was like barely getting by every month. And then I had to invest $8,000 in a coaching school, which to me was so much money at the time. And I went into debt. I invested in coaching school. I got my coaching degree. And I remember, I think because it was this was just after the 2008 economic downfall, that I was really motivated to make money fast in my business, because I really wasn't making that much money. I had to leave my job. Then after that, they downsized everybody in my department. I mean, it was kind of a mess. So I had that urgency of, I've got to succeed because I have no other option. And so I started my business as soon as I was allowed to while I was in school. And I remember I really busted myself. I mean, I was putting flyers everywhere. Back then there was no Facebook ads, this is
Right.
2010. I'm like putting flyers, I'm handing out cards, I'm telling everybody I know what I'm doing. I'm just trying to tell as many people as possible that I have this business. And eventually I got a client from one of those flyers I would leave at one of the wellness centers in New York City. And from there, it just started rolling. And I discovered doing webinars online. And I remember I would do a webinar every single month. I would do a webinar, fresh, brand new content every month. And I started getting followers, and I started getting people reading my stuff and coming to my webinars. And little by little, it just built into, I think by the end of the first year, I had already made 6 figures in my business. And then it just kept increasing every year after that. But the coolest thing, what's led me to the work that I do today, which we were talking about when we were getting to know each other, is that it's really amazing how your life kind of leads you. If you're open and you're keeping your eyes open, your life kind of leads you. Yeah, if you're open.
That's the key.
That's the hard part.
It's about the perspective. If you're open,
Exactly.
yeah.
Yes. So it's interesting because I noticed when I started my business, I was helping people with their health, with their nutrition, because I've always been obsessed with, just eating well, taking care of your body. And all of a sudden, I realized that my clients just weren't talking to me about food anymore. They were talking about the stuff that was going on for them internally. And then I realized, well, a lot of my clients are leaders. A lot of them are pretty badass people who are doing some amazing things in the world. And they're talking to me about all this stuff they're going through in their leadership and these problems they face and the high pressure decisions they need to make. And I realized, oh, this is changing how I talk about what I do. And what I'm actually really good at is this, not talking to you about drinking a green smoothie. So that evolved and evolved. And eventually I realized that what I was doing is I was helping people who want to do great things in the world and change the world, expand their capacity to be able to do that. Because there's all these things that we get told when we're growing up about what we can and can't do and who we are and who we're not. And those things stick with us. And we don't realize that we can carry that, even if we're very successful already and already in a leadership position.
You still carry that baggage.
Exactly. And the minute you get called to go higher, your leadership, you're going to hit that baggage. At some point you will. So if you have the capacity to kind of grow with that and overcome that, you can keep rising and keep impacting, helping more and more people. So yeah, I started to realize that a lot of leaders had a problem where they were over relying on strategy and thinking that strategy was going to be the thing that got them through all the levels of their success. And it wasn't. It was their capacity. So that's my story.
That's awesome. Just hearing you talk about your story and where you come from and how you had to work to get to where you are and the things that you had to do. Just makes you tired.
When I think back to my first 2 years, I'm like, I'm glad I'm on year 10 because I still work hard, but that's a whole other
different.
level.
It's different. Yeah, it's different. It's different. Yeah. And maybe in this one, you might could take at least one deep breath a day. And that one, it was all go, baby. Like, no, like, let's go.
No sleep, 80 hours a week. Yeah.
Let's go. Well, just hear you talk about your story and everything. I would consider it to be hugely successful. So let's hit on success. What is your definition of success?
Oh, I really love this question, by the way. I love it when people ask me this question.
Thank you.
Because I feel like we have so many ideas about what success is, and I don't necessarily think they're right. I think, first of all, that success is personally defined.
Yes.
Number one. And number two, I think success is having the capacity to deal with your life and having the capacity to deal with the challenges that come across your path as you grow and impact more people. That's what I think success is, because what's the point of having a ton of money and a ton of attention if you're miserable, you can't handle it, it's causing you to get burned out, you're not appreciating it? What's the point? So to me, success is those two things. What do you define it as? And for me, I define it as having the capacity to hold, handle, and receive the things I want to create and do in the world.
Love it. Well, before we get off, if you don't mind, kind of talk about, your product, what you do, and where they can find you and support you and show you some love.
Sure. Well, like I said, I work with people on expanding their capacity, and I have 6 capacities that I think that all leaders need to develop in order to make the impact they're here to make and grow at every next level. And you can find me at www.lisafabrega.com. That's my website. I have a whole video series there that's totally free if you sign up for my newsletter, that allows you to learn where you are in each one of the 6 capacities and what you might need to be working on, what might be actually holding you back when you feel like things aren't working for you anymore.
Well, that's awesome. Well, again, I want to say thank you so much for taking the time to interview with the Success Chronicles. I truly appreciate it, and I wish you continued success.
It's my pleasure. Thanks for having me.
Glad you're able to take a little deep breath now.
Me too.
Yeah. Well, thank you guys. Again, thank you. And thank you guys for checking out this episode. We'll see you next time. God bless.
Go get it.